With breaking news and political commentary from a public servant, serial entrepreneur, community leader, philanthropist, and American patriot, and a darn nice guy. It's time for the GrassRoots TruthCast and your host, Gene Valentino.
Hi, friends, Gene Valentino, and welcome to another great episode here at the GrassRoots TruthCast. You know, we bring on people from different walks of life throughout our history of GrassRoots TruthCast. They're political, social, more patriotic, more scientific, banking, finance. You pick your poison. We're usually doing one of those things here on the GrassRoots TruthCast. I am very honored to have a gentleman with me today. His name is Glenn Story. He's the co-founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. Have a little cellular phone company background in my history as well. So I find this very interesting how Glenn has morphed the concept of cellular service nationwide to make it a tool, an instrument for the protection of our democratic republic, our constitutional republic, and to promote patriotism nationwide. Those two items are not far apart and are brought together with the help of a mission and a concept that was designed by Glenn Story, CEO and co-founder of Patriot Mobile. We're going to meet him right after this.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. So let's meet Glenn Story, co-founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. Glenn, thank you for joining us here today on GrassRoots TruthCast.
Gene, I just want to say thank you. I just appreciate what you're doing. And anytime you have a grassroots guy that names their show Grassroots Media or Truth Media, you know, you just got to love that. I love it. So anyway, such a pleasure being on your show.
Thank you. You know, it's because it's what we really think America is all about. Is its founding fathers even thought so? Was the exciting dynamic that occurred in the neighborhoods, the villages, the church basements, the taverns. You pick it, anywhere USA, going back 250 years. America was tripping and falling, but it made its way to a constitutional republic we have today with the liberties and freedoms that I know Patriot Mobile espouses. Folks, just real quick, I met Patriot Mobile at the CPAC convention in the early part of 2024, and it's where I was convinced this is the future of how we need to do business in the future as well. Glenn Story, welcome, and give us a little background on yourself and Patriot Mobile.
Wow, that's too open. So I'll just stay with I'll keep it narrow. You know, God has blessed our business. We happen to be what I would say and what we call America's only Christian conservative cell phone company. And you might say, how do you say that? What do you mean by that? Well, it's pretty easy. We put God first in everything that we do. We are his stewards, and we really try to put our business in along with biblical values. Every decision we make, we try to do the exact right thing for our customers, our members, our board, our stakeholders, you name it. But by putting God first means that we leverage biblical principles in the way we manage folks, data, and everything. And he's breathed blessings on us. It is amazing. Our growth is, early on, we were a purely political organization. And we went from here, we put God first, and all of a sudden our growth curve over the last 4 or 5 years, we're up 10x, and they're all his blessings. And we want to return a portion of every dollar and give back to the conservative movement, i.e., right to life, first responders and military, First Amendment and Second Amendment. We just believe in those as our four core pillars.
You say, so really part of the mission is to, part of your retained earnings or your profits, if you will, go toward the good causes America stands
Amen.
for. And that is an excellent motive. And there's many companies doing that nationwide in the way they market. And that's why I chose to have you on today with me on GrassRoots TruthCast, because that's what GrassRoots TruthCast is all about. And that's working with not only the people we're interviewing, but the sponsors that are pillars of the community, that are patriots. How did without getting too broad in the business, how did Patriot Mobile form itself and create what is its offering for the people?
Well, I'll take you back to day one. That was in August of 2010. Now, check that. 2013. We ended up, I was coaching youth football. I was working up in New York, back and forth. And, I had a guy approach me. He says, "Hey, you want to start a cell phone company?" I was like, "Dude, you got to be out of your gourd, to think that we could take on the carriers." And he walked away, came back a week later. We're coaching these kids. And he goes, "Look, you really need to think about this because we're going to target Republicans." I was like, okay, there's a there, right? It's not just we're going to market. We're going to market to a certain niche. Well, you know what? We looked out there, and what's crazy is we found a company called Credo Mobile. Not that I want to talk about them, but they were a progressive, very left-leaning cell phone company. And they had donated at the time about $75 million to progressive causes. They were the largest funder of Planned Parenthood outside of the government. They were funding these tree-hugging organizations, stuff that we don't appreciate. We love small government. We love low taxes. We like businesses to manage themselves within reason. And they were donating contrary to us. I heard 75 million. I was thinking, okay, mathematically, if you're going to donate 75 million, you had to have earned or build at least 100x of that. So I was like, okay, there's a real there. So we went out and did a little bit of research. We started the company, and we were purely political in nature for the first 5 years. We even wanted to name our company Ted Cruz Mobile, being based out of Texas. And we ended up thinking that's probably not a real good idea. So we named it EOS Mobile. And I was like, that's really a dumb idea, and I hope my guys aren't watching, but the goddess of the new beginning as a conservative organization just didn't work out. So it was like, guys, we're changing the name. We're going to change it to Patriot Mobile. What a great name. That was about 8 years ago. We changed it. And we've morphed into this political business, as I said earlier, to putting God first, where we base it on Judeo-Christian values. He has just breathed blessings beyond anything I could ever imagine. And we carve out a portion of every bill. Even back then, we were going to donate to causes and candidates. And, you can't donate to candidates if you're an LLC or a business. So we donate to organizations that push, that really share values with us, whether it's Right to Life. We donate to Concerned Women for America or Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. I love Marjorie Dannenfelser and her group. I also love Penny Nance's Concerned Women for America or Embrace Grace. They're another great pro-love, pro-life organization. And that was our business model. It's just morphed into these organizations as opposed to political candidates. And it's caught on fire.
It's almost counterintuitive. You would think that working on that? I mean, it's not in your standard business class or MBA program where you create such an important segment of your plan to what I'd call spiritual, religious, charitable causes, good tidings for those who are in desperate need. Uh, and how do you, and so what is the distribution of those good deeds? Is it through the same Patriot offices around the nation, or is there a mechanism by which people apply to, and you determine if they're qualified, like tunnels for towers?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a group that there's an avenue to get in. I think it's on our website. It says donations or how do we get more involved? And it runs through a committee that looks at it and says, okay, how well are they managed? Number one, that's the most important part. Everybody has a great idea, but if they spend 80% on administrative cost, we don't work with them. It really is the other way around. They need to spend less than 20% on administrative and 80% or more on the goal of the organization. That's the first part of it. And, we do work through our committees to figure out who are the best ones to work with along our pillars.
So the network is a consequence, really, of the sales effort too.
Amen.
It's hand in glove. That's not. I don't look at it as disjointed. It's just a matter of segueing from one good service to another good service.
Well, it is. I mean, look, today, I would say without question, cell phone service is very much like electricity, right? You expect when you flip the light switch, you expect the light to come on. You don't really have a big concern with who the provider is, as long as you're getting your service, right? Well, using that kind of term, we just say 99% of the folks that come to us come to us for the mission. They believe their values align with yours and my values, God, country, and family. In that order, we believe in a higher being, we believe in our country, we believe in our family, and we'll do everything we can support. So they come to us for that mission, right? And they look at what we do. I will never knock the carriers. I think they do a fantastic job. I think we just do it a little bit better. You look at our services. When you call 972 Patriot, you speak with somebody that speaks either Californian or Texan. That's right. I mean, you speak with somebody in the US and you understand what we're doing, right? You heard about us on your show. You call and say, hey, I heard him on Gene's show. I love TruthCast, right? Or GrassRoots TruthCast. I'm going to go. I know, I believe in your values. Everybody here believes in our values. So it's really kind of a unique niche.
So what's the methodology? If I want a Patriot mobile phone service, how do I ask you how it compares to a Sprint, AT&T, or Verizon? Or are you selling that service as their broker agent?
In a sense, we're buying data, text, and voice from the major carriers. We repackage it. We do all the billing, collections, marketing, everything through the customer acquisition portal. And you don't even know that you're with the other carriers, although we're leveraging their networks. It's very simple.
Well, they shouldn't have a problem with you expanding their transactions, if you will, on their backbone.
That's right. That's right. Now,
So
they don't want us to cannibalize, but at the end of the day, there's so much churn in the business. Our churn is less than 1%, or it's 1% or lower. It's amazing because when somebody comes here, they realize I got exactly what I bought.
yeah, I remember the early days of the cellular industry going back to the 1980s. I owned a cellular system in California, and by the 10 years we had developed it and built it, we had built out about 168 cellular towers of different shapes, sizes, and strengths of signal. And we covered the whole central area of California at the time. And the trick wasn't, no one cared about these towers. They cared about the quality of the service. And back then, you had a problem with, my phone works on this block and this block, but when I went around the corner over there, it didn't work well at all. And I don't know why I lost the signal. And then morphing over time was even signal balancing going on. And we found that the issue wasn't necessarily the phone call anymore, but the variety of services being offered on that phone.
Yeah.
And as you know today, my words, the phone is the conversation on the phone is a small portion of everything you're doing on that iPhone.
Yeah.
And how about some spiritual motivation for people in need, incentives, and places to go for a spiritual uplift? I bet Patriot Mobile knows something about that.
Well, we certainly do. I mean, we put God first, as I've said a number of times. We have a weekly Bible study here hosted by Raphael Cruz, whom is Ted Cruz's dad. Um, from our perspective, we try to be a beacon on the hill. We try to say it is okay for you to put God in your business and let him help you manage or embrace him in your business. There's just no doubt about it. And if you do that, you will see a benefit, whether it's just better rapport within your organization, a better customer base, people that understand when y'all work together and you
Yeah.
put him at the helm, good things are going to happen. Hey, he did say, if you follow me, you will be attacked in his own way. And you look at it, we see it, that the attacks come all the time. But you know what? Every time they come after us, he breathes additional blessings over here. You kind of going, I just in a nutshell, I was interviewed by the New York Times. I didn't want the interview. Somehow he got into our office back a year before, and I met a friend of mine, Marjorie Dannenfelser.
Mm-hmm.
She had somebody at one of their functions that was the head of the religion section. And he said, this particular guy, which is a bureau chief down in Houston, is a fair and honest reporter. I was like, okay. So I called the guy back, David Goodman, out of the New York Times Texas bureau. I said, okay, let's talk. And so we talked. I realized he was a good man. I realized he believed in most of the other things. But so I said, come on in. And what we ended up doing was talking. And he realized that we're good people, right? We don't want to do anything. Yes, we believe that men are men, women are women, that there's God created too. And I do not believe in some of the books that were being advertised, these gender queer that had pornography in there. So when he sat down for the interview, I slid him over and I said, here, I want you to read this. I knew he had 3 kids. I knew it because we talked about it. And they were younger. So he read it. He was like, he went from this good, rich skin tone to bright white. And I said, if you think that's bad, if you think I'm being a book burner, I'm not. I just don't think K through 6th grade should have access to these books, not in our libraries. And anyway, he left. Great interview. The hit piece was like one of the best sales documents we've ever had. Our phones blew up for 6 weeks. It was really interesting how God used that. And then the BBC came in, tried the same thing, except they were really kind of ugly about it. Our phones blew up again. They come in to say, oh, this Christian nationalist company. What does that mean? That's some leftist term they conjured up to drive a wedge in us. We're all God's children.
We are certainly all God's children, and it's amazing how in this environment, in this nation, patriots like you have stepped up to not only defend this nation and support our Constitution in the way you have, but made it so integral to the business model you've created. And it's not adverse. One is not a problem with the other. They seem to flow at Patriot Mobile hand in glove. And I commend you for that. The folks, we're talking to Glenn Story. He's co-founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. Glenn, what's your footprint? Where are you in the nation right now?
That's a loaded question, but I won't be funny. So I'm sitting here in the center of Texas, talking with Eugene. Our business is coast to coast, border up north, the border south. When our customers travel abroad, they have coverage as well. We are really a lower 48, but we have customers in Hawaii and Alaska as well. But, we're 100% US based, California or East Texas.
So really, the way the world is going, I mean, where's Amazon located, right? Who cares? I mean, the footprint's nationwide. I presume your approach is similar. But the methodology is what? Someone interested in getting, learning more about Patriot Mobile's services goes to the Patriot Mobile website or phone number,
That's right.
and what happens then?
That's right. Well, generally you hear about us on folks that tell the truth, whether it's GrassRoots TruthCast or other guys that talk about Patriot Mobile, or they host interviews. They hear about us. They see us at trade shows. We just wrapped up the NRA show. We had, I think, thousands of people that came by our booth. They hear about us. You can go out to patriotmobile.com and do all your research. And if you've researched it and you say, okay, I love it, but I'm not going to buy anything online, I'm literally going to call. So they call 972-PATRIOT. And I ask you guys, if you heard about us on Gene's show, I think our promo code might be Gene V. I'm not sure, but
Yes,
make sure we know that you heard about us on Gene's show. And the real beauty is you're going to be walked through the process, because I know turning this phone over from another carrier is not the simplest of decisions. But once you commit, it can be anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. In some cases, it's a little bit longer. It's easy to switch. And all we do is ask you to switch. And now, if I may, since you asked me, we've got something very unique going on that others don't have. It's called Patriot Mobile One. One device, multiple networks. What we can do is put 2 separate phone numbers on your device, so you always have coverage. You always have a separate backup line. One of our customers was driving across the coast, and when the AT&T outage broke down, he was like, well, I'm fine. He didn't even know that we had issues. Other cars were having issues. But my point being, Patriot Mobile One is one phone, multiple numbers, multiple networks, always have coverage. And, that's one of the best things you could say.
And one of the things I've noticed also is that you're paying attention to other patriots. So military and veterans obviously have some discount they can enjoy once they've gone through the application process.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a 10 or 15% discount.
That's
in perpetuity. Control room's telling me 10.
10 as in 10 more hours of conversation.
Yeah, exactly. They're saying, hey, cut him off. He's giving away the house.
Well, you give away the house. I'll just make sure you have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, amen.
No, but it's great. Folks, we're talking with Glenn Story from Patriot Mobile, and the reason I wanted him on today was to really, it's also the flavor of what's going on in this podcast world, Glenn. A lot of folks are getting away from standard marketing hype and really appreciate what's the word I want? A family connection of sorts. The business I want to do with you has to be more heartfelt and personal to me as this crazy world grows and morphs and whatever it's morphing into. But I really appreciate Patriot Mobile's approach, because in my exposure, in my experience, with everyone on the team, I've learned that it's very heartfelt, it's very personal, and it's a very one-on-one experience. I bring it up because it's the antithesis of getting into this rotary phone holding pattern on customer service, wondering who you're going to be transferred to next to get the problem or concern addressed, which is where I'm going. This is probably how you compete. You compete by differentiating. So your differentiators are what?
Look, we're 100% US based, and above all, we're godly driven. I mean, we donate to causes that align with your customers' values or your listeners' values. I mean, God, country, and family in that order. I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. You got to put him first. And if you like what we say, we're going to do what we say. We're all around. I got to tell you a quick story. We were at the NRA show this last weekend, and one of the guys walked up to me and he said, I just want you to know, I love your service. I drove to Dallas from Wyoming. No, check that. Washington State. Drove down through Phoenix. He was in a traffic out the wazoo. He was like, I just sat there and my wife was driving, then I would drive. Our phones work so well. I just wanted to come by and see you and say thank you. And it's kind of it's that very thing. He was a veteran, and he was a Vietnam veteran. He was just so pleased to come by and say, I just love it. And he also said, I saw your video you sent to all of our customers. He said it was heartfelt, and I felt it was.
How can people step up and do more than just become a subscriber? Is there a way they can become part of this Patriot team in any of your offshoot organizations?
There's ways. I mean, there's job opportunities, no question. We're always looking for, you take the population, God-loving conservatives, you get to this big deal. We're growing. We have grassroots organizations that we work with that need help as well. Not financial help, but maybe boots on the ground. Because I will, without question, the way we succeed, and not just Patriot Mobile, but us as business guys and conservative movement, is grassroots. If you don't go get involved in your school board elections, if you don't get involved in local politics, my congresswoman, Beth Van Dyne, started not Congress, but she started in the local city council. Then she went to mayor. Then she was elected to be in the U.S. Congress. The real beauty of it is you got to just get involved today. You can't wait.
Well, I commend you for that approach. I think it's so important, Glenn, that everybody participates in one way, shape, or form. You're over in Texas, and you mentioned a hero of mine, Ted Cruz, and obviously you know his father, who's working closely with Patriot Mobile. Tell me about just a little bit of politics. Where does the Ted Cruz campaign stand in Texas right now?
Well, now this is my opinion. He is in a dogfight. He is in a real battle with a guy named Colin Aldred for U.S. Senate. It's very slick, very well-spoken African-American gentleman. He's an American, just on the other side of the ledger. Ted should win, but he's in a battle. And it's really sad because this guy's as liberal as it gets. I mean, he's not a supporter of the police. He's not a supporter of the right values, the gender, what is it called? Gender mutilation and that kind of nonsense. Those are just non-starters for the vast majority of Texans. However, he's not going to tell you all the bad stuff. He's going to just stand up there and look pretty, and Ted's in a fight.
But Ted Cruz has been such a outstanding representative for the state of Texas. He's, with his constitutional and legal background, he stands apart from most of the other senators with his experience in the Supreme Court as well, clerking. And my concern is what's wrong with the average American that isn't able to distinguish or see that? And with all of the crap you've got coming in over the border now, that's emanating to the rest of the nation. Every state is a border state now because of it. Shamefully, you end up you end up trying to do good, but I want to do good with the American patriots that worked all their lives to protect and grow this nation. I have a problem with folks coming in over the line expecting a free handout, filling out a Democrat Party registration form to get their Democrat card to vote Democrat. It could have been any party, but they're pushing this agenda on illegal immigrants coming in over the line and perpetrating the biggest fraud against America by diverting and distracting our attention onto other issues when the poor folks in Texas continue to suffer day to day. And it's almost like the Stockholm syndrome. I mean, how much more can you take? Beat me again. I missed my beating today or something. How much more can Texas take, Glenn?
We're at the breaking point. There's no debate. This is my opinion. I've been at the border. Our business, Patriot Mobile or Patriot Mobile Action, has been at the border at least a dozen times, or we've supported guys that go down there. I've personally been down there 2 or 3 times. What's interesting is they're overtaxed. Our guys on the border have seen things they should never be required to see. I mean, we've gone up in the hands and feet of Jesus. I think we smoked 1,000 pounds of meat down there one time and baked beans and all of this stuff, feeding the Border Patrol, the control processing, international bridges, feeding the police, the firemen, people all over the city of Eagle Pass, Texas. My wife went up to a guy, a big burly man, and she put her hand on him and says, "Hey, would you like this?" He goes, "I'd love it." And he says, "How are you doing?" She said, "How are you doing?" The guy really started to cry. She goes, what's wrong? And he goes, "The things that I've seen." And in this one point that it's terrible. This man comes running across the water and he's like, "They've got my wife. They've got my daughter. And these coyotes, cartel, are sitting on the other side holding this 14, 13-year-old girl up like a raggedy doll. And this guy had no choice but to come across. And he says, "They've got my daughter over there." And they were yelling, "Come get her." And that man said, all I wanted to do was put a red dot on that guy's head, but I can't. Because it's child trafficking. It is a crime. It's not just the 10 million people that have come across the border that they want to vote for them. It is a crime of epic proportions. It happens every day. We've seen it. We've heard the stories. It's repulsive, to be honest, and it just makes me sick.
And it's not to mention the fentanyl that's trafficked over and the deaths, the hundreds of thousands of people that have died nationwide because of the exorbitant amount of fentanyl illegally trafficked in the streets. Folks, we're talking with Glenn Story. He's the co-founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. What an interesting story. And Glenn, we're talking about the issues like this that are a crisis in your backyard in Texas, but it's Patriot Mobile's mission to step up when able to help many of these in need. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I would. It's one of our missions, no question. Is to say that, it starts with a life. We want to help unexpected mothers figure out a way to keep their child, whether it's through adoption or through they know there's networks all the way out to these folks down on the border. It's sad. And by the way, I want to just say this one last thing to kind of carry on from the other point. Was we've been to the Maverick County Jail. They have rooms full of weed. They've got rooms full of the drugs that you just know. And there's the bad room, it's the drug you just mentioned. It's all over. And you go in there, it's terrible. And you're thinking, it's not the drugs. That's killing our kids. Yes, it's terrible. It's the child trafficking. So yes, we want to do everything we can to help.
In our last 2 or 3 minutes, Glenn, would you like to close with some comments about faith, spiritual giving, or Patriot Mobile's mission? Anything in particular?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just say for those of you that listen to this great TruthCast, GrassRoots TruthCast, please don't be afraid to put God in your business. You will reap rewards that you just don't understand. He is omnipotent. He will breathe blessings on your business. Your staff will feel it. Does it mean it's going to be perfect? No way. But I will tell you this, it's amazing what he can do. And as a part of that, I would love for you to come be a part of Patriot Mobile. Trust us with your cell phone service. We give 30-day guarantees. If you don't like it, you can go away. You get to keep your cell phone number. And if you want a second cell phone on one phone, we can put that on there too. And just make sure you know to make sure that you say, I heard about you on Gene V and TruthCast. Check that. It's the Gene V promo code.
Yeah, that's the promo code Gene V for Patriot Mobile, folks. Yes, we've GrassRoots TruthCast pays its bills over here through the revenue streams we earn from our loyal advertisers. In this case, Patriot Mobile. And sure, it'd help me out a little, but it would help you out too. There's a good cause, a good mission, and you got a good partner in Glenn's story and the entire Patriot Mobile team. They plan to contribute over $2.7 million this calendar year to good causes and missions around the nation. So learn more about a company that's more than just your vendor. Learn about a company that's your partner, your friend, a patriot that's trying to protect you and this nation from the hostile adversaries that surround us. And you'll find a spot with Patriot Mobile that fits your liking. You start by subscribing. Call them up on their number. What was it again? The phone number as well, Glenn?
972 Patriot. 972 Patriot.
972 Patriot. And the website?
www.patriotmobile.com/Gene V. GENE, and V is in victory.
I wonder why he said that. That's pretty good. I like that. Folks, thank you for joining us today. This has been a wonderful. Glenn, thank you for this episode on GrassRoots TruthCast. You got something hot coming out in the future. You're always welcome back, and we ought to do another one of these with another focus, with another a little bit of directed attention towards any of your new up-and-coming products or services. Not to mention your outreach, which needs to be bragged about more. More companies in this nation need to be doing what Glenn Story's doing, and that's reaching out and being more than just a vendor, and you being more than just a customer. We together need to be partners, not only in the service with Patriot Mobile, but in the protection of this nation through a spiritual foundation and faith in God. And on that note, Glenn Story, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Gene. You have a blessed day and love your podcast. Keep it going.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another episode of Gene Valentino's GrassRoots TruthCast. See you soon.
Thanks for joining us for Gene Valentino's GrassRoots TruthCast. Be sure to like and subscribe, and God bless America.